Oh, we're still in Maui. Lord, I'm so glad this is it. I am so sick of Maui, and it has everything to do with this freaking cast. So this episode is obviously going to be the end of the Ebony, Thelma, and Louise, because as you can tell, the episode starts off with them being really, really friendly and talking about them being BFFs and Kenya, I got my friend back, and you know, so you already know that by the end of the episode, it's going to all burn down to the ground. And I'm shocked by it. Like, this wasn't a shocker to me because I never thought that they were real friends. I felt like they were storyline friends. It just didn't seem really authentic. Like, their friendship to me was as real as Mimi's lesbian lover storyline on Love and Hip Hop. It just seems very fake and forced and just uncomfortable. Like, even when they were in scenes together, it just felt very uncomfortable. So I'm not shocked by the burning down of the Ebony, Thelma, and Louise. So it's Peter's birthday, and Cynthia pops up to his room to give him room service and a birthday present. And while she's like in her confessional, she's just like, it's not that kind of room service, not a booty call room service. And like this entire scene, and Peter throughout, I'm not a fan of Peter. Like I said before, I've met him, I've met Nene, and I've met Kenya. They are all very horrible people. Like, from my experience, they were just terrible. And I was there to like cover their season, and I'm telling you, if I was like one of them gossipy blogs or just a dead person inside, I could have really told the tea about how horrible they were. Am I doing that now? Oh well, pray my strength in the Lord. Anyway, I really felt bad for him, and it was a genuine, like, I really felt bad because he's not one of my favorite people. But I felt bad in this show. But I felt bad for him because I felt like Cynthia was playing with his emotions. It was, you know, she knows that Peter still wants to be with her. And so to come to his room, to give him room service, to talk about, you know, oh, nothing's going to happen, but in her confessional, maybe later on down the line, like, she's toying with this guy, like, he still has feelings. Peter doesn't want to be divorced. Cynthia wants to be divorced. So leave that man alone, let him breathe, and let him heal. I realize that Peter is probably doing this just so he can get his check, because, girl, if you have been on Instagram, Matt has been dropping some tea about how the men get paid. And first of all, listen up, dudes. I know they're your wives, but this is what I'm going to tell y'all. This is the industry. Be smart with your money. Do not wait for the Bravo to cut the ladies a check and then wait for them to cut you half of or 10% of that check. Y'all some fools. Let me tell you something. If Bravo, if you are a cast member or on a show and you are not getting paid from it, use a fool. I don't care if you're in love or if y'all married. Get your check directly from Bravo. I had no idea until Matt and Peter started spilling the tea on Instagram that the ladies paid them from their Bravo check. What kind of Section 8 witchcraft is this? Why are y'all getting paid from somebody else's check when you're debuting on a network? You are starring on a network and you are not getting a direct check from that network? What? This is why reality TV is so big, because I'm telling y'all, these networks are doing some non-union foolishness with you people. They could have never have done anything like that with somebody who was SAG. By the way, guess who's in the union? Get at me. I'm about to get my paper. God is real. I just think it's really horrible how she was just, she's toying with him. Like, you can see the pain in Peter, and she is sitting up there toying. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, still flirting with him, inviting him on the trip, and then, you know, saying, oh, this is going to be our last time celebrating your birthday as husband and wife. Duh, he gets it. Like, what? I just feel like she's like sticking the knife in and like slowly turning it. And then she gets him a bedazzled Bible for his birthday. Like, what? When has Peter ever been religious? Not that I've seen on this show. When has Cynthia ever been religious? Why are you giving him a bedazzled Bible? And he was like, what is this? Like, it was so, I don't know. I just feel like it was just mean-spirited. I want her to leave him alone. You know, Peter, don't let her string you along next season. Go to Bravo and get a direct check and get your own storyline. Do not depend on Cynthia to cut you any other check, especially since you're getting divorced. Do not do it. And where are your kids? Where's your daughter? Sweetie, stop letting your father get played on national TV like this. He is sitting up there with his uncle been behind, looking self-hurting and in pain. And this woman is just living her life la vida loca in front of him and pulling him along anytime she feels like she's getting too boring and dry. Goodbye and she needs a storyline. So let me bring my little old gray husband who still wants me and play with his emotions on national TV, although I never really wanted to be with him in the first place. Catch that tea, because I don't feel like Cynthia wanted to be married to Peter. I felt like Cynthia needed a storyline because they always seemed like they were just best girlfriends to me. You know what I mean? Who did like occasional, you know, genitalia drive-bys, but they just always seemed like co-workers. You know, it wasn't like, even the wedding was so depressing. And I'm like, is this really what you want to do? And I'm telling you, people do that stuff. People on these reality TV shows have kids. They get married for a check. People will do anything for money. I'm telling y'all, stay woke. Daughter, get your dad. And if he's going to stay on this show, I want you to get on this show and be with your father. And then anytime Cynthia try to pop off, I want you to get a little peach and pop off right back and be like, my father is not available. You can talk to me. That's what I want to see, because I didn't like that. That was that turned me off from Cynthia. I mean, I've never been a big fan, but I've never really not disliked her, honestly. And in that moment, I was just like, stop playing with this dude. He really, really cares for you. Your daughter is crying about it, and you're sitting over here toying with him. Now, maybe if something happened, I'll just do a little drive-by, but that's in the future. Girl, stop. Peter's birthday, Cynthia decides to put together a dinner, and instead of roasting a pig, they roast Peter. Ah! Oh my gosh, they are so corny and dry. Andy Cohen, bravo. Get Nene back. Please. This show has been so dry without her. And I'll say it again. I'm not a fan of her as a person. But on this show, she's hilarious. She is some great comic relief. Please bring her back. I cannot tune in of another dry season of these women just tearing each other down with their lies and truths. Please get Nene back. I can't take it. Anyway, the gang does this roast of Peter. And it's horrible. The roasts are so horrible and just not funny. It's cringe-worthy to watch. And Cynthia bombed. First of all, I was so upset as a fellow Africanus Americanus, because we are naturally funny people. You know what I mean? Black people are hilarious. So the fact that they got up there during that Peter roast and could not crack one good joke, I was disgusted. I was appalled, and I know Harriet Tubman feels the same way. You all should be ashamed. So Phaedra and Cynthia are getting, divorced, and Kenya, as a way to be like cute and I guess girlfriendly, something fun to do to not really celebrate sadness, but I guess to get her girlfriends out of the funk of being divorced, she decided to throw them a divorce party. These new blacks, I didn't know that we did that. I'm like, what? Dear God, thank you, Jesus. It is their last day in Maui. I am so excited that these banshees, these black banshees is getting out of Maui, and they are no longer embarrassing me on this, in this other country. Hello, Portia. Going to another country acting foolish. Pretty people, man. You know what? Not all pretty people, because hey, I'm smart. So to commence their trip, the gang all decides to go on a boat trip. And it's a really nice boat. I think it was a pretty scenery and it was really fun. While they're on the boat, Bob decides that this is the time that he wants to talk to Sheree, because Sheree has not been speaking to him, rightfully so. And while on the boat, or what is it, a yacht? Is it like a yacht? I don't know, yachty, boaty, whatever. He decides, he tries to apologize. And it's a terrible apology. It's not remorseful at all. He asks her, well, what did I do to make you so upset? Really, dude? What did you do? Like, he's such a jerk. It's like, you're too old. Like, aren't you supposed to be getting wise at this age? You should have been wise. I feel like mid-20s is when you start to like wisen up to life. You're not fully there, but you start to get there. And then in the 30s and the 40s, and then I feel like at this age, you should have it pretty much solidified. You know what I mean? Like, there's much that you can learn, but you've already lived quite a life. So you should just have some wisdom, and just at least some wisdom on how to treat people, especially the woman that bore your children. And he's so terrible. He's so, not remorseful, and he tries to do this mind game, typical abuser mind game, where he tries to like turn the fault back onto her, and it's, you know, what do you want me to do? You want me to cut myself? And you were wrong. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you here. You were wrong, dude. Take the L and apologize with your whole heart. But he doesn't do that. So they just decide that they're done, and for the sake of the trip, they're just going to act cordial to each other. And Sheree is better than me, because I would have been like, my friend invited me and I invited you. You can go. But for the sake of the trip, they played coy. So we're finally at the divorce party. And it's so sad, because while the ladies are coming into this divorce party, Peter is having like this really sad like sit down with the guys, and he's like heartbroken about the divorce. And then you cut to Cynthia, who's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, not my dad. Let me tell you something. Peter's kids are a special bunch, because you wouldn't have had my father out there looking broke, busted, and disgusted. While Cynthia is like acclimated into the divorce party, she's being a good sport about it. Phaedra comes in, and I don't know if maybe Portia told her, or maybe the producers let her know what she was walking into, but she walked in with an attitude. And maybe I missed it somewhere in the episode where she found out about the divorce party, but I thought that it was a surprise. She walks in and she's so stuffy. She's like, ooh, and like so nasty. And I'm like, girl, don't come. Like, you didn't have to come. She could have faked sick, or maybe they forced her to come, but she was playing sick the entire time that she was there. And I'm just like, I would have just not come to the party and maybe talk to Portia about it afterwards. But for you to come there and just bring this negative, you know, attitude, and I get it, right? I get both sides. Like, I get her being very upset at the fact that you guys are like, in her mind, she's like, you're making a joke of my marriage breaking up. Like, you're making a joke of my, you know, ex, you know, who was once my husband, like being in jail and being away from his parent, my kids being away from their father, and them not growing up in the same household, and they're not, and, you know, me not having the dream, you know? So I get it. I get where she was coming from, but I'm just like, why stay? Why stay? Like, why even show up if you knew that this is what it was? Like, why not pull your best friend Kenya aside and say, I don't think this is a good idea? Like, I just felt, I get her offense. I understand why she was offended. I just felt like she didn't have to handle it that way. Not that it wasn't a big deal, but it wasn't done in a negative way. Like, Kenya didn't do it to hurt her. She was trying to, I cannot believe I'm defending Kenya. Like, what is going on with the world? But Kenya did not do it to hurt her feelings. Like, I felt like she was doing it to try to bring both of her girlfriends out of this divorce funk, because divorce is like a death. And I just felt like she was trying to just have some fun with them and, you know, make light of a very dark situation. Poorly, she did it poorly. I understand, you know, it's to Phaedra, it wasn't a joke. To Cynthia as well. Cynthia was just like, you know, I wasn't too excited about a divorce party, but Cynthia handled it differently. She handled it in a way that I probably would have handled it. But again, I've never been divorced, so I don't really understand that pain. So I get it, Phaedra. I just was like, I just didn't know why she was there. And then Phaedra was heated. She fakes sick, and then she leaves. And then she sends Portia this scathing text message about Kenya that, what she call her, a whore, a heifer, something, clumsy hoe. She called her something. She called her a name, and I felt like it wasn't appropriate. But again, there were some feelings there that she had about Kenya. She called her trifling, I think. And I didn't think it was warranted. I didn't think it was warranted. I understand. I didn't feel like the way she reacted was warranted at all. And then Portia, if Phaedra's supposed to be your friend, why would you read her text aloud? Because Phaedra leaves and nobody is saying anything about it. They're just like, oh, poor Phaedra, you know, she okay, you know, whatever. Then Portia's just like, oh no, she's really mad. She just said that heifer, that trifling whore, harlot heifer that was texting her husband, how she think it was fun to make sense. Like, she read the whole text to a room of people who are not really friends with Phaedra. Two women who don't really, well, one woman who doesn't really like her, Candy. And I'm just like, I don't know why Portia would even do anything like that, unless she was getting back at Phaedra in her own little petty way for not really supporting her through the entire, through the Candy lesbian storyline thing. Because At this point, Phaedra still has not said that she was the one who dropped that tea. So maybe that was Portia's own way of throwing Phaedra under the bus. If so, I'm here for the petty because she did not have your back. So Portia leaves to go check on Phaedra, and Phaedra is going on about, I can't believe that they would make fun of the sanctity of marriage. And I don't buy it. I don't buy it, Phaedra. I really don't buy it. And this is why I think people have a problem with you, because you get very messy. You're oversexed. You play in the mud too, and then you try to act above it and try to hide behind your faith or scriptures or Christian, or Christian values and things of that nature. And I'm just like, you're talking about making fun of the sanctity of marriage when you brought a stripper who sucks his own penis to your friend's party, and he sucked his own penis in front of her mother. So where is the sanctity in that? Where is the respect? And that's why Mama Joyce hasn't liked you since. And I know it's like apples and oranges, but I'm just like, girl, you can't be like Jesus on the cross one day, and then the next day you're like this porn star, and it's like, you don't expect for people to have a reaction to how you switch up. And that's people's problem with you, is that it seems like nobody really knows who you are, and it appears as if the person that you put out in private is like this really weird, freaky person. And then you try to be like, oh, Jesus wouldn't allow that. And let Jesus come in and fix our friendships. When you're like the main one gossiping and calling, you're the one that started all the drama with the Candy's lesbian storyline. So I'm just like, I still think that you're a great asset to the show, but I hate when you, and I guess it's because I'm a follower of Christ as well. I just hate when you try to use your faith as a way to put down other people, or to try to protect yourself in situations that you have created. So that just bothered me, that she was like, kept on throwing the sanctity of marriage. And I guess if she would have taken that out and just been like, I'm hurting, I don't think this is funny. Like, I don't want to make fun of my household breaking apart. I'm hurt by this divorce. I don't want to have a party about it. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm in a lot of pain. Like, let's just have a party of us getting together and having some fun, and it has nothing to do with my divorce. I would respect that. But this sanctity of marriage BS, I can't buy it, because I don't think that's the issue. And later the issue comes out, because when Portia goes to check on Phaedra, they have this whole discussion, and Kenya comes and Portia leaves so they can have the discussion. Phaedra starts saying, well, you texted my husband and I told you something. So all of that anger and pain that she had from that reunion, where she called her a hoe and she was trying to go in and out of fertility clinics trying to find a father and all that stuff came up, because at the end of the day, Phaedra never really forgave Kenya. And she said, I forgave you, but I never forgot. No, you didn't. You didn't do either. You didn't forgive, and you never forgot about it. So I think that's their core issue. Phaedra never forgave Kenya, even though they had that prayer in the Philippines or wherever they were at, and they said that they squashed it and moved on. That pit was still there, and she never healed. She never healed from it, and that's very understandable. I could never be friends with a woman who was texting my husband in. I get that Kenya was trying to play innocent in that, but Shady Bravo editors pulled the receipts. They showed you flirting back and forth with Apollo. I remember when you first started doing it, you was lighting up Twitter, because people was just like, she is very inappropriate. Not I. You can't flirt with my man. You can't text my man. It better be in the thread where we're all in it. You can't side text him. No, you text me and I'll give him the message. So we will always have beef. We will always have issues. I'll never squash it with you, because you were the chick that, although you say you wasn't trying to get with my man, you were being inappropriate and you were disrespecting me. So that's where I think Phaedra is. She has a problem with Kenya because of that. I don't think she blames her for the dissolving of her marriage. I just think she never forgave her. And and even Kenya admitted that maybe that her flirting with Apollo was like a little icing on the cake, or a little bit of salt in an already like open wound. I get it, but it was a part of it. But I don't think that Phaedra blames her for the dissolving her marriage. She just doesn't forgive her for the small part that she played in it. So I agree with them both. I don't think that Kenya was doing it to be malicious. I really felt like she was doing something fun for her friends. She probably didn't think it all the way through, or really check in with the two of them to see if this is something that they wanted. That probably would have been smarter, but I don't think she was wrong in this. I just think that it was a poor choice, but it still wasn't wrong. It came from a good place. And if they were really friends, if Phaedra really forgave her, then I think it would have been received differently. But at the end of the day, Phaedra never forgave Kenya, and they were never really friends. So this is why we are here now with them being enemies all over again. And honestly, it's a lot better when they're enemies, because Kenya really pulled something out of dry Phaedra. You get the honey and the all that stuff with Phaedra when her and Kenya are cool. But when her and Kenya are not cool, you get Phaedra raising up over a table and taking her purse and about to punch her in the head with it. That's the Phaedra you get. You get the Phaedra who was reading her edges all the way back on the reunion. That's the Phaedra you get. And listen, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying when Kenya and Phaedra are enemies, it's good TV. Kenya and Phaedra in their little meeting, Kenya tries to pray. I felt like it was a nice gesture. I didn't feel like it was given in the right spirit. Phaedra rejects it because she's still really hurt. And so they leave and nothing is really resolved. And again, I agree with Kenya because she was just saying, you were the one who were bringing us all together and like having this Holy Ghost revival of friendship meeting. And now I can't even, you know, come to a healing place with you. And it's just, listen, Kenya was calling Phaedra on the table with a lot of her two-sided foolishness and mess. And listen, the girl was right in what she was saying, Phaedra. So, she clocked your tea. Kenya comes back to the divorce party and the group is talking about what just happened. And Big Mouth Portia says, well, the divorce just happened, so it's still new for her. And that's probably why she had this reaction. So when she says that, Candy is like, because Candy doesn't want to be friends with Phaedra. I feel like if Todd wasn't in the picture and her mom was in her ear, they would have been able to work through this, but she has too many people who don't want them to be friends anymore. But it doesn't mean that she doesn't miss her. And I feel like she still misses their friendship because she looked at Portia when she said it, and the way she looked at her was just like, I was supposed to know, like, why, you know, like, I'm her best friend, I'm supposed to know that. So anyway, when the group starts saying, oh wait, we didn't know that Phaedra was divorced, Portia's like, I'm just like, oh, Portia cannot hold water. She just vomits tea. I would never tell Portia a secret. That's kind of why I feel like what she's saying about Candy has a truth in it. I do feel like she's padding it with lies, but I feel like all of her lies, they just fall to the ground because Portia just can't hold a secret. She really, really, really can't. Basically, that's where the episode ends. This episode was a little dry. I feel like next week it's going to be a lot, you know, more juicier. So that's probably why this episode was dry, because they were trying to give us a little build up or a lead into next week's episode, which is just going to be messy. And I will see you then. So if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for episode 18. I think we're going to get like 22 episodes or maybe 20 episodes and 2 reunions. I hope it's not 3 reunions. Andy, please, like, 3 reunions is just too much for us to check in. And especially since you're going to be starting the Real Housewives of New York, we don't need all these freaking reunions. 2 reunions is enough. We will give you that. But 3 is overkill. And y'all not that special. I'll see you then. Bye.